Okay, so a little update. I did get the pin problem solved in these, and I'll explain the whole thing of what happened and why. And we ended up with a problem. I had one I noticed, and a second one I noticed, and a third one. They all started doing it. I was not pleased with it. So we tried a new design, and that actually works. It's just so many pieces. And then I talked to a bunch of people that do the modified bikes with the 2 strokes. They have like the tracks right over here. And a couple of the guys, and a couple of the car guys, and all that stuff. I was talking to them. The guy down the road's been doing cars and stuff for years, and all kinds of engines. So I came up with a new design and a new idea for these, which is a little unorthodox for what everyone's used to. So, first big problem I've had is, if you see, not one of these freaking gudgeon pins is the same length. They just kind of cut them to match the damn castings, and whoever casts them, I guess, you know. Usually the center's the same, but the sides are not, to where the retainer clip is. So, that's kind of been a pain. It's not the end of the world, but it is aggravating. Okay? So, where we're at now, and I want to show you this. I started doing the washer kind of deal. I don't have one the right size, but, you know, I was doing a washer like this out of stainless. And what happens is, going up and down, they're free from each other. It would move over time and started wearing and stuff. So that's not a good design. Second thing I did was cut a stainless end cap with a plug in it to go in. Now, it would sit like that. That way all the mass is together and everything rolls together, and you don't have to worry about that. It's just another piece, though, to fall out and tank an engine. I mean, we all know how that goes. You know what I mean? So, as you can see in there, there is a bushing that I made. Okay. Now, I'm going to explain this whole process here. Okay. This bushing is actually tool steel. Alright? It's a very high grade steel. So what it does is it gets annealed. And as I'm making the part, I actually made, it looks kind of like a knurling tool, if anyone knows what that is, with some bearings and stuff. So what I do is I heat this up with a torch a little bit, get it soft. And I have a post holder. I take that tool on the lathe and I hit it at like 8,000 RPM and roll this edge down till it hits 8 millimeters. Okay? And then I take it and I cut it to length from the other side and get it all pretty. I put it back in, heat treat it. And this thing is just as hard as this pin now, if not harder than that pin. The pin would wear out before this bushing. Alright? So, what I'm doing now is this outside diameter is actually 8 millimeters, a little smaller actually. Alright? And then the pin itself is 10. And the outside of this is like 12 millimeters. Perfectly, give or take, like a little tiny amount. And I'll explain why and how. If you guys watched the carb video, how I joined the 2 pieces together, you heat one, cool one. Alright? Well, the piston I'm just leaving as is. So when it comes time, I'd put my bearing in. I'd leave this in the freezer for about, I don't know, half hour. And the pin will slide right in, sit in place. You put your little clip in to make sure this never moves again. Get that out of the way. And then what it is the pin can move freely inside the spacer. Okay? The spacer cannot move freely inside the piston. inside this area. So the spacer, actually, once they heat up and stuff and cools, it'll stay in there. So this is not bad at all. This design is pretty good. Very pleased with it. But it will, the spacer itself will retain the pin now. And the spacer is harder than the pin. So we don't have to worry about the pin eating through it. And then the clip itself will just retain that spacer. Just in case on the edge, if you see. Just like the regular gudgeon pin that would go in it. So, anyways, that's the new design. The other thing too that you can do with these is, like, say, you know, you gotta pull the pin or something. You literally take a clip out, put like a bolt or something in there, and just knock the pin out. You know, it'll come out with the spacer, because the spacer will, you know, can't come through that pin. Well, the pin can't go through the spacer. So anyways, that's where I'm at. This design is working killer. I leave about 2 millimeters in space inside for the pin to be able to travel. And if you notice, it does not ride the edge of that crimp. It actually rides where I folded it. And we're cutting the pins with a bevel. Make sure they can't, you know, eat into that either. So it's a good system. This is working really good. It's nice and smooth, super easy to put in and take out and maintain. So that is where we're at. I got a video coming in a day or so, well, a couple days. We're gonna have one all together, and then that one will be the first one to go up, I guess. And we'll start going from there. But anyways, I've had the YD100 bottom halves themselves have been a nightmare to get here. The shipping and stuff has just been horrendous. If I can get them, they charge a fortune. It's like the shipping themselves is just crazy at the moment. Well, I mean, look at diesel fuel. So, anyways, I got this going. We're going to start doing this really soon. Probably within the next 2 weeks. One will be up and ready to roll. Alright.